It's Chelsa Messenger with picks and parlays. We're talking college football. It is bowl season, and we're headed to the Alamo Bowl, where Texas and Colorado are going head to head. So 2020 is almost over, thank goodness, and we've got a promo code to celebrate. The code is 2021 for 20% off the entire site at picksandparlays.net. Number 20, Texas is favored in this one, 7.5 at FanDuel. You can get other numbers across at other places, so shop around depending on the team that you like. I'm seeing the total is 63.5. We've got Kurt Alexander to break this one all down for us. Kurt, what stands out to you when you see these two teams on paper, and especially with the line being kind of all over the place? How can you take advantage of that, and what are some of the things you have your eye on when it comes to this Alamo Bowl?
Well, this should be a very good matchup. Colorado, I think a lot of people are overlooking this Colorado team. 4-1 record. They lost their final game against Utah, but they're 4-1 against the spread as well. I really like this team because they run the ball. For those of you that know me, I really love teams that run the ball well, and Colorado is one of those teams. Jarek Broussard is the name of their running back, averaging 150 yards per game, and going up against this Texas team. Texas is ranked 33 against the run, so I think that Colorado will be able to move the ball on this Texas team. When you look at the Texas side, you look at Ellinger, and Ellinger is having a very good season. Only one turnover in the last 4 games. The line right now is at 7.5. It was a little higher. Because it's still at 7.5, I'm leaning more towards the Colorado side. I think that the Colorado run game is definitely going to impose their will on Texas. And from some information that I was just given, Texas might also be missing some players on the offensive line. So this is definitely a game where I'm leaning more towards the Colorado side with the points.
Right, especially if you can get it at 9.5 in some places. As I mentioned in the intro, there's a lot of different numbers on this one. And I think it could make a difference when you're talking about this game. We talked about some of these opt-outs. Texas will be missing one guy for an opt-out, one guy for an injury, and then another one has COVID concerns. So 3 other guys on their offensive line probably aren't going to be playing. And then you've got their top wide receiver, Brennan Eagles, also opting out. However, I think I'm going to take Tom Herman and the veteran quarterback in this one. Tom Herman is 3-0 in bowl games since manning the ship at Texas, and I like him here. I think when it comes to bowl games, you take the veteran quarterback that's been there and done that. And Ellinger, he's had a lot of flack there. I know he said that Texas is back. I don't know if that's the case, but I think they can beat Colorado here just because I think Colorado is a bit one-dimensional. Yeah, their run game's really, really good. As you mentioned, their running back, the Pac-12 player of the year when it comes to the offense, and averaging 6.3 yards per carry, which is really good, but a bit of a small sample size there. And I think the problem for Colorado for me is how they do against teams that can actually throw the ball. When they played Utah, that was an issue for them. And they lost handily. And I think Ellinger is going to be able to throw the ball here. He's been really prolific this year. I think he would be in Heisman talks if his team was a little bit better. So I am taking Texas. I'm hoping it moves down to 7. Yeah, I'm going Tom Herman with his spotless bowl record and Ellinger at the helm of that offense. Looking at a total here, 63.5. It's a bit high, but when we're talking about this Texas team that puts up a lot of points, the over might be in play. Kurt, what do you think?
I am definitely on the over, and I say take advantage of this over. I actually had this over possibly going up into the 70s, as high as the 70s in this game when I handicapped this game. So that's really the side that I feel strongest about is the over on this game.
Right, and always more fun to bet on overs, especially bowl games. The only thing I would worry about is just the fact that Colorado likes to run the ball, but they've still been able to score quite a few points. If you look at some of their box scores, that's what really surprised me because I mentioned them being one-dimensional. I think they only have, 6 passing touchdowns this year, which is crazy, given the fact that their record is so good. So I think you can either take that in 2 ways, the fact that they're one-dimensional or the fact that their run game is just that good. Any other nuggets you think that bettors should know when betting on this game?
Well, Broussard, like I said, that the running game, you did mention that they are one-dimensional, but this is a really, really good running game. I mean, he had a 300-yard game against Arizona, I believe, earlier this year. And when you have these special backs, especially in college, they'll kind of take over the game for you. And I think that's what Colorado's going to look for here. On the Texas side, the total scares me when you say Eagles isn't going to be playing, because that's like Ellinger's number one guy. So they're going to
Right.
have to, find a way to replace that production right there. But yeah, I still like the over in this game. I think that's the strongest play, and I think that's what I'm sticking to. I'm going to stick to that story, the over.
Yeah, and then one final note before we go, just always look at motivation for these teams. I think Colorado definitely has motivation since they haven't won a bowl game since 2004, and then Texas, I think they're going to be motivated as well. I think that kind of lends itself to the over. I think both these teams are going to be wanting to put up points just because, Texas has been the butt of a lot of jokes, and Ellinger's really going to want to go out this season on top and at least have a good game. But that's going to do it for our college football bowl talk. As always, great stuff from Kurt Alexander. Kurt, thanks for joining us.